I'm just going to release now all the live footage, my thoughts on what I was seeing at the time in this video. But just before I do, let me just show you this, because I've only just seen this and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased to say that, it's really brilliant because it's really rubbish. There's no bodies, and it proves that the main BBC witness was lying. And if the main witness on the BBC is lying and sounding, not to me, convincing, but she's trying her best, reading a script obviously and trying to sound convincing, if you know the one main witness on the BBC is completely lying and making it all up, then you can extrapolate that to its logical conclusion. This here is another 45 seconds bit of camera phone footage, which is very important. I'm glad to say that people are waking up to it. This has got twice as many thumbs down as thumbs up, because people do not believe it is for real. Let's just go through this a minute. Okay, the guy in red runs up here. He's going to run back down in a minute. These are crisis actors mixed with normal people. Okay, now these two walking onto the scene here are the same. What they do is they use the same crisis actors in the mobile phone footage. It's almost like they did it in Brussels. These two are these two. These are the main BBC witnesses at the Berlin market, or there's two of them on the night.
And eat a meal, but
thinks he's saving Western civilization.
Completing a devastation of what we saw when
the guy in blue and his girlfriend with the long hair and with the beard, they turn up in this video. You can see his beard here, his blue jacket, and his girlfriend with his long blonde hair coming into scene now. They are actors. This is fake, and they use, like I said, they use crisis actors, the same ones on the media in the I'll just show you again. Okay, here they are walking into the scene. These are the main two BBC witnesses. The guy with the blue jacket and his girlfriend with the blonde hair. Obviously, the first thing we can see here is that the lights didn't come down anywhere at all. The lights are on all the way down here. I'm pretty sure a lorry is actually, the truck part of the lorry is actually higher than that. That's pretty low actually, isn't it? So what they've done is they've told the crisis actors that when they mock up the stage scene, they're going to pull the lights down, because they did. They pulled the lights down, as we saw, but they did that after the event. So they've made a mistake and told one of the crisis actors to say on the BBC or say on the media that all the lights came down, but their people mocking up the stage scene, didn't do it in time for the mobile phone footage videos. They did it after the event, so they just cocked up basically. And once, like I say, once the main BBC witness is lying and blatantly lying, then it doesn't. The whole thing's a charade. We won't see anything here. We'll just see the same people that turn up again and again in other videos and as witnesses. The bloke in red runs up there and then runs back down in front of the camera.
Wie gesagt, wir sind hier auf dem Breitscheidplatz. Ein LKW ist auf den Weihnachtsmarkt gerast. Hat sehr viele Menschen.
Okay, so like I say, no one really knows why that truck stopped there, because it didn't hear anything, but random Christmas tree lying up against the side there, very important. Get as many Christmas trees and as many wreaths into this footage as possible. This was all done with the big neon lights of Berlin Morning Post. overlooking this whole thing, because it is a media psyop.
Den Opfern zuliebe werden wir hier natürlich nicht weiter draufhalten.
And that's it, guys. That is it. That's it. No bodies, no wounded, no, just a video that proves that absolutely, completely and utterly confirms that the lights didn't come down. And the main BBC witnesses, she actually said the lights came down and it went dark, because the guy asked her, he said, can you explain to me what you saw? Obviously the best way of getting out of not explaining what she saw was to say that the lights came down and it went dark and she couldn't see anything, and that's what she said on the BBC. As you can see, the lights didn't come down and the place is pretty well illuminated. Okay, we finally get an eyewitness here, Emma Rushton. Now just check this out.
In Berlin, well, one of those eyewitnesses, Emma Rushton, saw everything that happened, and she spoke to me a few minutes ago.
So it's our first day in Berlin. We've never been before. We arrived about lunchtime and had been off to the Christmas market earlier today. We came back to the hotel once we could check into our rooms and decided to head back there because we'd had such a lovely time this afternoon. We went and bought Glühwein. We were...
Okay, why are you telling us what you bought? That's not right. That's not normal. You just get on with it, telling us how terrible the terrorist attack was.
Sat in one of the booths behind one of the huts that was serving the drinks. And we heard an almighty bang to the left of us. And then there were lights that were overhanging the market came down.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert. Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
And then there were lights that were overhanging the market came down.
Absolutely intact there, and behind it, because it's supposed to have crashed diagonally through here.
To the left of us. And then there were lights that were overhanging the market came down.
Obviously all of these lights perfectly intact all the way along here. Nothing has crashed diagonally through that market. Nothing. Okay, there's no hole there. There's no hole there. The fence is intact all the way along there. Okay, so we got blatantly got two different film scenes here with different setups. Okay, so what they did is they drove the truck in for a staged event, and then it hadn't penetrated this red fence on the live footage we saw on the BBC. And all these lights up here were still intact after the event, about an hour later, after they reporting the events happened. Obviously what happened is they brought the truck in, sealed off the area, and then they staged all this here. Then they ripped all this out and took the lights down and set the scene. Exactly what they did at Brussels when they faked that in the airport. Okay, so that's absolutely categoric.
If we tie all this together with the finding weapons rather than finding explosives.
Don't forget, they still haven't looked in the back. This is supposed to be a terrorist attack. They've gone into deep analysis now, live. See, this is live. They've gone into deep analysis of how this is a terrorist attack. Yet no one has thought to open the back of the truck doors yet and have a look, see if there's any bombs inside. Come on, it's just ridiculous. How did that get in that position, leaning at that angle against the tyres? Huh? Apart from some bloke come along and put it there like that. Now, okay, so everyone's suspecting this is a copycat of the Nice attack. No one's thought yet to open the back of the lorry and see if it's full of bombs. You just wouldn't even have this. They'd just seal it off straight away and get the bomb disposal people in to open up the back of the truck. You'll see after about an hour and a half of footage on the BBC, finally 2 policemen decide to open the back of the truck and have a look inside. Absolute rubbish.
One person has died, a number of other people are injured.
You just watch this. I've watched this for 2 hours. No one does anything. No one does anything. Guy over there looking at the camera again. Guy over there looking at the camera. All that matters is the camera.
But the police are saying at this stage they have...
I've not recorded all the footage, but I've recorded a few snippets here. I've watched it for the whole thing 2 or 3 hours. It's so many things that they don't do anything. I've just watched them walking around aimlessly for 2 hours on the live footage of this alleged truck attack, and they don't do anything. They walk around in front of the camera on their mobile phones like they did in Brussels. That's what they're told to do. The easiest way to look busy is to walk around on your mobile phone. You don't see the police and the firemen and the ambulance people walking around on their mobile phones. When have you ever seen that? But in this, you'll see them walking around on their mobile phones, and what you'll see at the same time, they're walking around with their mobile phones, or just sort of trying to look busy, but not actually doing anything. They're all very conscious of the camera on the opposite side of the street. They'll all start glancing over. You'll see them take sneaky glances. As they turn around, they'll glance at the camera. All the focus and emphasis is on the camera. Why? You don't get real emergency services focusing in their mind on the cameraman on the other side of the road. It doesn't happen, guys. They're professionals. They're busy. They're doing stuff. If you just sit there patiently and just watch the raw footage for 3 hours, you'll know it's not right. Okay, you'll know it's not right. You can see that they're just trying to look busy, trying to do something. None of them do anything. There's about and you'll see them all glancing at the camera, man, and they're really conscious that they're being filmed.
In southern France, but the scene in Berlin, a lorry has come off the road, ploughed into a...
Now, okay, a lorry's come off the road. It's a terrorist attack. It's ploughed into 50 people. The back doors of the truck, they're closed. They've not opened them. Now, don't we see truck bombs in Syria? Don't ISIS drive trucks full of bombs? They could be 100 tons of TNT in the back of there, or 50 ISIS jihadists that are going to jump out and start shooting everyone with Kalashnikovs. They haven't opened the back of the truck. There's no bomb disposal. There's not even any police down here. In fact, these guys haven't even got their blue lights on. Okay, this is just garbage, absolute garbage. And like I say, very important to note the truck is in front of the Christmas market. Also note that the lights are all on. See the lights here? Yeah, they're all on, because we'll have a false witness come on the BBC in a minute and say that all the lights went off and it was dark. Okay, the lights are on, the whole place is lit up, there's big lights here. See? Okay.
On Bastille Day.
Well, first thing to say is he's smiling and he's smiling. Now just watch, like I say, this is all the way through. Just watch this here. He walks past on his mobile phone, very conscious of the camera, looks over the road at the camera.
It is not yet clear.
Turns around, looks at the camera, on his mobile phone. When do you see firemen on their mobile phone? Here comes the fake policewoman. What's she doing? She's looking at the camera. What's he doing over there? Looking at the camera. They're all very conscious of the camera, aren't they? That is because they are acting. That's because the main emphasis of this whole charade is the cameraman on the opposite side of the road. And like with Brussels, and like we pointed out before, what they tell them to do, the easiest way to look busy if you're not actually doing anything. How many people are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people doing nothing. Okay, now I've watched the live feed for 2 hours. Well, the footage that we were shown coming in live on the BBC, and no one does anything for 2 hours. They walk around constantly obsessed with the camera on the opposite side of the road. Okay, these are not real firemen, not real policemen, or if they are, they've just been recruited for this psyop, and they're all fully supportive of of the of it, because you know, we're defeating ISIS, aren't we, by pretending to be them.
Why the truck veer?
Okay, so obsessed with his camera. He's having a sneaky look at the camera. This is for 2 hours. They're all doing it. They're obsessed with the camera.
Off the road.
And they're on their mobile phones, which you don't, which is just nonsense.
Market police cannot at this stage say if it was a deliberate.
These will be obsessed with the camera as well. Not doing anything, just like taking sneaky looks at the camera.
Hit people, or if it was some sort of.
Okay, that's one of the stage scenes here, which are. Okay, where are the ambulance people? Okay, the firemen are here. I mean, where's he come from anyway? He's come from under the truck. I mean, he's been hit by the truck, has he? Okay, this is one of the little stage scenes they do at an angle we don't see. We'll put him back in the ambulance won't go anywhere. And in the meantime, the
accident, of course, people's thoughts when this
kind of thing happens. Turn.
And do you believe that's real? Really? So he's been hit by a truck, what, an hour and a half ago, and they've not wiped the blood from his head, and he's not got a bandage on his head. But the blood's on that side of his head, because that is where the angle of the camera is, on the opposite side of the road.
Back to events early this year in Nice, when a lorry ploughed into crowds of people. An ambassador to the country has been shot dead in an attack at an art gallery in the capital Ankara. Andrei Karlov was. Okay, so 8:03. Remember, this knocks off the massive news that the Turkish ambassador has been shot, and that wasn't a special on the BBC. It was the main news story, but it wasn't. This is a special. This is like you know, where they break in on a heavy
main
truck,
and
a vehicle could be used in this way by terrorists. We know that the authorities.
Okay, now look at this. Look, this is a staged shot for the cameras. Oh, look, the driver. He's looking at the camera. The Christmas tree. Look, how evil are these terrorists? It's got a star on the top as well. You know, he's managed to aim it at the Christmas tree, and he's stopped right over the Christmas tree for the cameras. I mean, that's an iconic shot, isn't it? Flipping ISIS come and spoil Christmas again.
Here in the UK have been,
you know,
on the lookout for.
Oh, they're not doing anything, but none of them are doing anything. Where's the police? Have they opened the back doors yet and seen if it's full of bombs? Oh, he's looking at the camera again. What matters here is the camera.
Possibility, trying to find out how.
That's it. Quick, have a little look at the camera. What a joke.
Easy it would be for any person to get their hands on the.
Oh, camera. Oh, camera.
Kind of articulated lorry.
Honestly, guys, I've sat here and watched it for, you know, 2.5 hours, and they don't do anything. No one does anything. All they do is they stand around looking at the camera, and they get their mobile phones out every now and then and look busy. And, you know, this is what you're supposed to be looking at here. You know, the evil sods. Look what they've done. They've ruined Christmas.
hospitals which might be at risk is that this is not a sophisticated attack. It doesn't take a great deal of planning. It requires access and perhaps, the theft of a large vehicle, and it requires a crowd of people.
What is he laughing at? It's a tragedy. You don't stand there laughing. Oh my God, you're on TV as well. Should we just prove that he was actually laughing?
Theft of a large vehicle, and it requires a crowd of people.
He's laughing, a joke, laughing,
for police to guard against, and it's something that does
looking
not
at the camera and laughing.
require a great deal of money or expertise to carry out, and it's almost impossible to guard against. So this is, if it is,
Honestly, you've got to record these live and just watch them back and study them closely.
a terrorist attack, it
Yeah, okay. The camera. They're obsessed with this camera. Yeah.
is the second one of it.
But real policemen and firemen are professionals. They're not interested in the camera. Okay, they're busy. It's just
It's kind that we've seen in Europe this year. You mentioned, of course, the one in Nice on Bastille Day, which killed 86 people. Again, it was something that was almost impossible.
the Nice truck wounded 480. Was it wounded 480? Wikipedia says. So it hit hundreds of people, and there was no blood on the front of the truck or on the windscreen. You'll see the front of this windscreen has got no blood on it. Go and have a look what happens when a car hits a deer on the road or something and it hits the windscreen. Splat! There's blood everywhere. No blood.
For the French police.
Oh, doors of the truck still shut.
To have done anything.
No one bothered to open it, see if there's any bombs inside or any other terrorists. Absolutely bored out their minds. Nothing to do.
About even if they'd suspected something like this was possible. You simply
None of them
cannot
do
guard
anything. They don't
every
do
crowd
anything.
That appears, even in places that
In the huts, selling food and Christmas goods. And
They actually said, by the way, German, I think it was Merkel or one of the German top politicians said that Christmas markets will be a target this year. Okay.
and drinks, and this was a particularly traditional
Stop looking at the camera.
Christmas market in the west of Berlin. One eyewitness is reported as saying, "I heard a big noise, and then I moved on, I moved on the Christmas market and saw so much chaos, many injured people." This is one person speaking today.
One person. Name?
It was really traumatic. This eyewitness says that police
He's smiling.
cars and ambulances converged on the scene pretty quickly, and a huge security operation unfolded. But as I say, at this stage, the fate of the driver is still not immediately clear. Richard was pointing out there that some eyewitnesses are suggesting that they saw the driver leave the cab of this vehicle and run. The local newspaper built. Police are now confirming that they have many officers at the scene. We can obviously see. Police are now confirming that they have many officers at the scene. We can obviously see that.
Okay, that's not true actually. They haven't got many officers at the scene. There's this guy here. There's a car over here without its lights on. And then there's two cars sealing off the road. Very, very few police on this footage. All you see is guys dressed up as firemen not doing anything. And this guy comes out the back of the ambulance. Guess what he does? Looks at the camera. Look, if you don't believe me, I'll show you.
Have many officers.
Oh, you see that? You want to see that again? It's all about the camera. That's all that matters.
Have many officers at the scene. We can obviously confirming that
see?
they
Here it comes.
have.
Okay, where's the camera?
Many officers
there.
at the scene.
Okay.
obviously see that. This was an incident that took place outside the landmark Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial.
It had Polish plate.
You never believe it. Walking towards the camera on his mobile phone. This is the shot you're supposed to see here. Stage shot. A guy walking towards the camera. Easiest way to look busy is to pretend you're on your mobile phone, as they all are. And this guy here pushing this guy here across the road. You know.
It doesn't really take us much further forward. It's just one more detail in this. Again, lots of talk about the fact that there was a co-driver, certainly somebody else in the truck, who apparently didn't survive the crash, but of course may have been killed earlier. There's an awful lot of speculation in the absence of any cold hard facts at the moment. Certainly the police.
Okay, do you get that? See, someone died in the crash. In that crash. Looking at the camera again, looking at the camera, sneaky look there at the camera, pretend to be on your mobile phone. Actually, he's not on. He's not even got a phone in his hand. You know, it's all about the camera.
Crash took place. It will be a while before we have a clearer picture of exactly what happened.
Yeah, I see that.
Sure, there, Paul
Not
Ryan,
truth.
Representative Paul Ryan, the Speaker of
Honestly.
the House of Representatives.
Again, that hasn't been confirmed. It could simply have been the noise of something breaking.
Look, not truth.
Or just the noise of the impact caused by the truck. So
at least
it
it's
will
true.
be a while before we have a clearer picture of exactly what happened, I think.
Sure, there, Paul Ryan, Representative Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States, says that he's tweeted in it. He says he's horrified by the scene in Berlin. We are all praying for the victims.
He's horrified. These guys aren't horrified. Standing around having a chat, doing nothing, laughing and joking. Well, as you can see here, the Christmas market looks pretty good. All the lights look pretty good.
America stands with Germany against terror. Let's go to Lee Dodderidge, who's on the line. He's direct.
America stands with Germany against terror. Oh, the irony and just unbelievable deception in that.
At Covenant Security and Risk Management. He's also a former member of the UK's National Counter-Terrorism Security Office. Thanks for joining us, Lee. First of all, what are your thoughts on this? The police not treating this as a terror attack as such, but clearly a deliberate attack to kill and injure.
Yes, I can understand the police being cautious at the moment, not being too early in what they put out on the media. I think obviously behind the scenes.
Well, it's quiet, isn't it? No one's got their blue lights on, like it's not an emergency. There's no police, there's no forensic people, there's no bomb disposal people.
They will be closely looking at this and evaluating it as a terrorist incident. Unfortunately, you know, it bears the hallmarks of what we saw in Nice, in France, and also
Staged event.
a classic attack on an iconic target such as a Christmas market.
An iconic target and a very, very soft target too.
Exactly, and that's why we know these sort of crowded places, especially at this festive season, Christmas markets, you know, have been schools and other things there. Cameraman,
all looking at the camera.
Maybe prevented this. Use what you can get from a household or even a set of keys, whether it's your own vehicles or hiring them.
Seriously, I've sat here and watched it all, and none of them do anything. They don't do anything. They just walk around in front of the camera, and they can't resist looking at it because it's all about the camera.
So it's quite a broad range of threats that we'd have to defend against. And again, we also have to try and balance the security with, you know.
You'd never believe it. This guy's turned up here, documentation, to take some photographs of the truck before anyone's bothered opening the door yet to see if there's any bombs in it.
Everyday living, especially this time of year, people going out to these markets, enjoying the festive season. And it just adds to the security, but also people need to be more aware when they're out and about.
Lee, I mean, if one is just a
Oh, look,
punter and not
sneaky little look at the
necessarily a
camera.
driver with
It's all
that
about the
kind of
camera.
license. I mean, how difficult is it to get your hands on the kind of vehicle, weight of vehicle that could cause this kind of problem?
But normally on a standard license, you can actually drive quite a decent sized vehicle.
Where are the bomb disposal? Where's the police? Where's the forensic people? This is quiet, guys. This is a real quiet scene.
And again, you know,
He's actually just making it up. I mean, what he's saying there, he's not actually saying anything.
speed, and then the weight of the vehicle produces what we call a kinetic energy. They're very hard to stop. Even the 7.5 ton smaller trucks are the sort of thing people probably use for their home removals. You can only get that on a normal driving license. It can create mayhem. Anything larger like an HGV, yes, you have to have a specialist license.
That was a contrived conversation we just saw in front of us.
But it is a serious threat because these vehicles need to be used.
He just walked past looking at the camera.
As everyday commerce, so how can we legislate against people hiring or using those?
Germany, of course, on a heightened state of alert after a series of terror incidents.
All fake.
The UK on a heightened
All fake. Remember that one with the ISIS terrorists going in and murdering that old Catholic priest that was sent by the Vatican just for that particular sermon because it was a staged event.
We live in, it's difficult
PSYOP.
to police everywhere, and at some point, I suppose, the terrorists, if they're determined enough, they're going to get through.
Unfortunately, yes, and this is where we just rely on members of the public reporting any concerns that they have whatsoever. As we say, with the threat from the lone wolf, the individual who just decides to self-radicalise.
So these ambulances turn up and park there and don't do anything. They don't go anywhere. There's either injured people or there's not injured people. If there's injured people, they need to go to hospital. If there's not injured people, then the ambulances need to go back to the hospital so they can be used for other call-outs.
Lee, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. I do apologise. Lee Doddridge there, security expert, talking to us. Thank you for that. You're watching BBC News.
Who's getting free advertising here? That is a newspaper. I'm pretty sure that is a German newspaper, and the editor of the German newspaper is in on this PSYOP because they interview him on the BBC. Sounds completely unconvincing, but this is a media PSYOP, a left-wing media PSYOP to try and destroy ISIS or Islam, or it's really using them to destroy conservative values.
Hello, I'm Ross Atkins. Welcome to Outside Source. We're going to begin in Berlin, where a truck has been driven into a Christmas market.
Shill. Useless idiot.
These are live pictures. We also report from Turkey. Earlier, the Russian ambassador there was assassinated at an art gallery in Ankara. The gunman shouted a message about Aleppo after the attack. BBC Turkish and BBC Russian will have the latest on this. And the Outside
within half an hour of each other.
Source team is working to gather the most recent and reliable information from Berlin. If you see something you want them to look at, BBCOS is the hashtag to use.
What's the point of even bothering talking to you? You sell out. You sold your soul. You sell out of humanity. Can't even begin to articulate how disappointed I am in people like you. What are you doing with your life?
Is in the west of the city. It's just in front of the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. On the
very important part of the PSYOP. Who is this Kaiser Wilhelm? Okay, so we got the ambassador, the Russian ambassador in Turkey, tragically assassinated. The assailant shot dead, so he cannot be questioned as to if he was working for the intelligence security services or you know, whatever. And we've got a link to Germany. Obviously, Germany did invade Russia in the recent past and killed millions of people in doing so. And this isn't going to play very well in Russia because not with the people who are clued up to what's going on. Like I say, Sputnik reporting, they believe it was probably a NATO provocation, and this guy was, I don't know, brainwashed, or was certainly brainwashed. And but was he acting alone? And then this happens, which takes it off the news. This is staged and planned in advance, and it's within half an hour of the news breaking of the assassination of the Russian ambassador. This sweeps it off the news in the West anyway, obviously not in Turkey and Russia, but it sweeps it off the news, and this is going to dominate the headlines tomorrow. Now, if you think that's a coincidence, then fine, but I can tell you now, the Russian intelligence people will not think it's a coincidence. They'll see it as proof that NATO and the West knew that there was going to be, that the Russian ambassador was going to be assassinated tonight, and they timed this staged event to sweep it off the news. And I think I'm not a coincidence theorist. These things I don't believe are coincidences.
The left of us, and then there were lights that were overhanging the market came down.
Okay, the lights are not, they haven't come down. It's important because she says it's dark, but this is an illuminated area, these lights here, and all these lights above here, and you can still see it's light in there, because she's going to say it goes dark. By the way, the back doors of this truck have still not been opened. See him then on his mobile phone again, turns around to look at the camera, and his mate looks at the camera.
It was relentless. It didn't seem to stop.
And this happened just 8.
Now, very important what she says there. The truck has crashed right in front of her. Yeah. Now listen to what she says. She says,
Telling it to people, it was relentless. It didn't seem to stop.
It was relentless, it didn't seem to stop. Okay, that's scripted, contrived nonsense. You wouldn't say that because it did stop. It stopped right in front of her. Here, right in front of the market. Okay, it's travelling at 40 miles an hour apparently, but it stopped dead right in front of the market. I mean, what's the braking distance at 40 miles an hour? It's obviously, it must be a long market. Anyway, what she just said there is it was relentless. It didn't seem to stop, but it did stop.
And this happened just 8 to 10 feet from you.
Yes, it was so close, and we'd only 2 minutes before said, "Oh, we'll go in a minute," because you know it was so pretty with the lights and the Christmas music. And so we'll give it another minute, and I'm so glad we did.
And just 2 minutes before, you were at the very stall where this vehicle actually ended up going through.
Yeah, we bought the wine there and had sat down in the booth behind it. It was too close for comfort.
Yeah, a little bit too much like you're trying to create. You told us what you bought there. Would you do that? I don't think so. You say you were there, you wouldn't need to tell them what you
Indeed,
bought.
I can imagine. And at that stage, did you have any inkling as to exactly what was going on, how this could have happened?
No, I think in the moment you're full of shock, you're full of adrenaline, you have no idea what's going on. Because
in the moment, I think you are.
So she's dark. We have no idea. The people around us had no idea.
How do you know what the people around you were thinking?
And
This is what they do.
going past us. So I thought, it's too reminiscent of what happened in Nice.
Carried on going past you, but it actually stopped right outside the market.
Plowed into the area. Just describe what was going on around you.
So people were just drinking, and when we heard this bang, everyone looked over because we thought maybe, fireworks were going off or something. And then you heard people who were obviously in the path of it screaming. It was, it was going so fast. It must have been going 40 miles an hour. It made no attempt to stop whatsoever. It was terrifying, and everyone around us was just in shock. We all got our phones out. My first phone call was to my mother to make sure that she knew that I was safe. People calling emergency services.
Is garbage.
It was chaotic.
She's getting the right mess.
One eyewitness there speaking to me a little earlier.
It made no drinking, and when we heard this bang, everyone looked over because we thought maybe, fireworks were going off or something. And then
Notice how she speaks for everyone else.
You heard people who obviously...
They did this last time with this fake mobile phone footage. How many people have actually got these silly heart icons? Because on the footage we got from Munich and Munich and Nice, we got all this floaty heart stuff coming up on the mobile phone thing.
In the path of it, screaming, it was going so fast. It must have been going 40 miles an hour. It made...
Okay, 40 miles an hour, but it stopped dead, and she says it made no attempt to stop. How did she know how it stopped? It's behind a partition. She's behind a partition, so, and she said it made no attempt to stop, yet it did stop. So how would she know how it stopped? How would you know it crashed? I mean, how did it stop anyway? It hasn't hit anything front on, has it? What's it hit front on? There's a lamppost here, right next to it, but the lamppost is still upright.
It was terrifying, and everyone around us was just in shock. We all got our phones out. My first phone call was to my mother to make sure that she knew that I was safe.
Rubbish.
People calling emergency services. It was.
What she says there, people around her were calling emergency services. How does she know that? Did she ask them? Is she a mind reader? If she was calling her mother, how did she know who everyone else was calling?
My first phone call was to my mother to make sure that she knew that I was safe. People calling emergency services. It was.
Well, if there's 50 people wounded, I think the first thing you should be doing is attending to the victims.
It was chaotic.
One eyewitness there speaking to me a little
Okay, so that eyewitness, Emma Rushton, not credible.
earlier. Emma Rushton. Let's talk to another recent.
This guy is not credible either. Listen to this.
Meredith from Cardiff, who was at the market in Berlin with his girlfriend Sarah when the crash happened. Reece, thanks for joining us. Just tell us what you saw.
We literally said, well, we've been...
Okay, we get a front-on view. Obviously what they do is they smash up the truck beforehand and drive it in like this anyway. The truck's hit 50 people. Well, it's hit dozens of people. And we got no blood. You'll see no blood anywhere. It's like the Nice trucks hit 280 people with no blood absolutely anywhere. The windscreen showed, but no blood on the windscreen. Apparently this truck crash was so bad that one of the passengers died. He obviously didn't have his seatbelt on.
Been at the Christmas market about a good 20 minutes. Having a good walk around, sort of soaking up the scene, soaking up the atmosphere, and we bought food and decided to sort of sit down and eat our food before carrying on. But having a good walk around, sort of soaking up the scene, soaking up the atmosphere, and we bought food and decided to sort of sit down and eat our food before carrying on. But had we carried on...
No blood. No blood.
We would have walked down the pathway that the...
Red partition, market other side of it.
The truck would have been down and...
Oh look! They still ain't opened the doors. 22:42. We're going to get two police guys here. Finally open the... Oh, guess where he's looking? At the cameraman. It's all about the cameraman. They're finally going to open the back of the truck up and see if there's if it's full of bombs or jihadists or illegal immigrants.
We more than likely wouldn't.
On his mobile phone in front of the camera. This is an interesting shot. How have they managed to get this so quick of these two? It actually looks like they're at the market here.
Be having this conversation right now if we hadn't made the simple decision to sort of sit down.
This guy, what is this guy? Some sort of soldier, SAS, hates Islam, agreed to be part of a PSYOP.
And eat a meal, but
thinks he's saving Western civilization.
Completing a devastation of what we saw when we realised what.
Oh, here we go. Look, they've opened the back of the truck at last. Now, a load of jihadis could have just run out there, couldn't they? With machine guns. You wouldn't do that. Bomber disposal would do that. Armed officers would do that. They'd do it straight away. It'd be the first thing they'd do if this was a real event. We are definitely at least, I don't know, an hour and a half into it before they realise that someone's got to open the back and have a look, see if it's full of bombs.
What happened?
You're incredibly lucky, you and your girlfriend, to survive.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's listen to this guy, because he gets in a right pickle. He's making it up.
Yeah. I think the truck entered the market. No.
I think the truck entered the market. The market's over there, so it didn't, did it? It's outside on the pavement in front of the market.
About 10 feet from where we were sat, and everything happened so quickly. Couldn't believe what was going on until we sort of run round the corner and seen just the end of the.
What corner? What corner did you run round? This is a straight road. We've seen the aerial footage looking down on the street. It is a straight road. There is no corner.
Devastation that it had caused.
We haven't seen any devastation, have we? We've seen, some Christmas trees. A Christmas tree's been run over. But if there was devastation, this cameraman on the opposite side of the road would be filming it, or he'd be filming, evidence of it. But no, it's all happening here in this little bit.
What did you see? Just describe, paint a picture for us.
Yeah, so we heard it knocking down the stalls at an amazing rate of knots, and
okay, he heard it knocking down the stalls at an amazing rate of knots. Yet it's not in the market, but where the stalls are. The stalls are the other side of this red partition. Now, he just said a minute ago that he was sitting 10 or 15 feet away. So why would the first thing you say was, I heard it knocking down the stalls? You wouldn't say that, would you? If you were sitting 10 or 15 feet away from a massive truck that had just ploughed into the market, you'd say, I saw it ploughing through the market, knocking down all the trucks and people, and blood splattered everywhere and all that sort of stuff. So I'm afraid this is garbage, guys.
There was no skidding wheels, or there was clearly no attempt to try and slow down.
But he did. He did slow down. This is what they're all saying. This is the narrative they've been saying. Make sure you get the message across that this was deliberate. He'd made no attempt to stop. It stopped. Okay, we know it stopped. The evidence is right there before our eyes because we see it stopped in front of the Christmas market. How do they know how it stopped? How do you know how it stopped? What did it hit? There's nothing in front of it that seemed to have made it stop. There's not even a bent lamppost. There's a lamppost, but it's not bent.
We're in ads of the market, but as we sort of come around the corner, we've seen stalls, that were completely present before it happened.
Okay, that's not the first thing you'd say. You wouldn't say when I came around the corner and I saw stalls. Okay, that's not the first thing you'd say. The first thing you'd say is I came around the stall corner and there was blood splattered everywhere. There were people walking around like zombies crying for help.
Just obliterated into nothing. There were bodies lying on the floor.
Bodies is the secondary bit.
I tried pushing.
Looking at the camera. Stop looking at the camera. You never make a good crisis actor if you're looking at the camera.
People who have clearly, sadly, already passed. my girlfriend was attending to an older gentleman with a pretty severe head injury. It was just absolutely horrific, and it's
you're dead. Yeah, by 70 tons truck, even at, you know, a slow speed.
How an incident like this can take an impact on you when it happens, when you're, you know, right there at the scene when, you know, we're both sort of sat here now.
I know what that woman's been doing. Remember, that's like an hour and a half later, and she's just decided, you know, it's freezing cold, it's December. You're not going to be sitting on the street for an hour and a half with minor injuries, are you? You're going to at least sit in the back of someone's car, or sit in an ambulance, wouldn't you? Sit in an ambulance with a heater on. I mean, what is the temperature in Berlin tonight? It's an hour and a half later, and people are just sitting around in the street.
Sitting down in a hotel room, but still in a huge state of shock how something could happen. You know, something like this can happen.
Indeed. How quickly were the emergency services there, do you reckon?
Oh, the German emergency services were absolutely amazing. So the police who were
looking at the camera, oh, they're all so conscious of this camera, because it's a staged event, guys, and the only important thing here is that the camera gets a good shot of the back of the ambulance, just at the right angle, so we can't see the head, but we can see, you know, something's going on. So this is like I say, ages later. There's no rush to get these people out of the cold and into an ambulance. These ambulances don't go anywhere.
were on patrol there in the evening were brilliant, because, you know, not only did, you know, the obvious scene they had to deal with.
Okay, the police were brilliant because they cordoned off the area quickly. I think what they wanted to do is open up the back of the truck and see if it was full of bombs or jihadi terrorists, but they didn't do that. But the police were brilliant because they put tape around the area.
But there was an extra danger that, sadly, the stall, the truck had plowed through were cooking stalls, so there were gas bottles concealed under debris.
But that's not true, is it? Because it was on the other side of the market. The lights in the market are all hanging up there above the thingamajigs, above the stalls. And you're not going to be hanging around an area. You know, it's been a major sort of terrorist attack, and you're not going to be hanging around to find out what stalls the truck went through. Like I say, that truck could still be full of bombs. In a real event, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get everybody right out of the area. You know, like half a mile out of the area, and that's where they're going to cordon it off. They're going to look a right bunch of plonkers if that truck blows up now, and they've put a cordon about the other side of the street, away from the truck.
That they also had to deal with because the emergency services were on the scene so quickly. Cordon areas were set up so quickly and efficiently that it was very, very well handled, without a shadow of doubt.
Were there any
They didn't open the back of the truck for about 2 hours.
doubts in your mind about going to this market, given the number of terror incidents there have been in Germany over the last year or so?
No, I mean, absolutely no doubt at all. I think, you know, we got over here Sunday. It's a fantastic city. We've soaked up everything that the city's had to offer. We've been twice hockey matches. Today we were on walking tours, visiting various landmarks and monuments.
That's it. Fill in as much time as you can talking about other stuff, but not actually the terrorist attack. He just loses it anyway and starts gibbering. Definitely fake. Okay, finally, don't be fooled by this. This is post-production, about 15 seconds long, for a staged sort of scene with fake blood and crisis actors. they always do it. They release 2 bits of post-production camera phone footage to try and convince everybody that it was a real event, but that's all they release. There won't be any more. Now, in a real event, there would be dozens of everyone would have their camera phone out. It would be dozens and dozens of videos like this, but like with the Brussels terror attack, there'll be 2, just 2, and they'll be about 15 seconds long, low quality, pointing at the ground, and just a load of crisis actors doing a bit of street theatre, and this is what you see here. This is, like I say, it's 2. This is the only 2 released. There won't be any more. I don't think there'll be any more. Just to really re-emphasise that point. If this was a real event, there'd be dozens of people with camera phones. Everyone's got a camera on their phone and their phone in their pocket, and apparently there was thousands of people here. That didn't look real. This is that was 15 seconds. Again, if you were going to film something, if you were going to film this event, you'd film it for 5 or 10 minutes and upload it. You wouldn't film 15 seconds. But go and check yourself. As with the post-production mobile phone footage from Brussels, Munich, etc., all of it's 15 seconds. Well, less than a minute, which is same as this one here. This is I mean, they always just film the blood. As long as you get the blood, that will convince everyone. That looks like someone's got a brush there and just okay, chuck some planks of wood around, some blood on the floor, and just half a dozen crisis actors. Or just mingle normal people in with a bit of street theatre. See, there are couples there just sort of walking past. Okay, that's not right. You wouldn't do that. You'd be you just don't know what's going on here. I mean, you'd just be away from the scene, or you'd be actually attending to someone, or doesn't focus on anything long enough for you to, for you to be able to analyse it. But what he does do is he turns the camera and points at a bit of wood. I mean, that's just nonsense, isn't it? You've got people lying around that you can film. You've turned the camera and you've filmed someone's lied a plank of wood along the side there. It's rubbish. Okay, so it's a street theatre scene that they've mixed in with probably with normal passers-by who are just walking past Bermuse, not thinking, not quite working out what's going on there. He was looking at the guy with the mobile phone camera. Everyone would have their mobile phones out if it was a real event. Yeah, there's been some speculation as to whether they used 2 different trucks on different occasions. In other words, it was not filmed at the same time. And also, we've got the red front of the truck. I'll come to that in a minute, and what happened there. But the back of the truck, a couple of people have mentioned, and I noticed it myself, that, apart from the fact this is a white door at the back, if you have a look at some of the other footage, it definitely looks like it's a metal grey door. And this opens left to right. there is footage which seems to show that the one they used in the following day had, or the one that was filmed the following day had roller shutters that didn't open like this. But I don't know enough about truck doors, so I'm not going to make a big thing about that. But what I will point out is this: we can all agree that this is a black truck. I did say that it's possibly dark navy blue, but I think it's black. Okay, it's black. Now take a close look at the roof. That is definitely a black roof. Yeah, there's other footage that will show it having a black roof. Okay, now let's take a look at this. That is a white roof. Yeah, white roof. It's definitely a white roof. White roof with grey doors. Okay, black roof with white doors. And here it is the next day being towed away, and I think we can see that is definitely a white roof with a red